It's time to get off the bench with WBAG Sports, Alamance County's premier sports coverage since 1947.
And welcome to another edition of WBAG's Off the Bench series, presented to you by For All Occasions at 3266 South Church Street in Burlington. Make sure you stop in and tell them WBAG Sports sent you. We're back to our roots here on the Off the Bench series with a coach interview. Joining us today, a very special guest, head coach of the Southeast Alamance Stallions, recent winner of her 200th career game, head coach Amy Surratt. Coach, thank you for joining me today. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. First of all, congratulations on a hot start to the season overall, but as big of congratulations on career win overall number 200. Now, I know you don't get into coaching for accolades or anything like that. That's not why you started this. But at least on some level, somewhere, it's got to feel good to get that 200th win and to know that you're doing something right throughout your career.
Yeah, I honestly, when it happened, I had no clue. I didn't know where I was at. My assistant coach had gone back all the way back to the two other high schools I had coached at and counted those, and he was keeping track of that, and the team knew about it. It was all a big secret. And I was like, what are you guys doing? What is this for? But like you said, we don't get into it for that. But it was cool to have the team and the people that I work with get excited and acknowledge.
Right, exactly. And not the only ceremony or celebratory accolade achieved that night. Clara LaChapelle joined the 1,000 point club as she eclipsed that mark for her career. How special was it to do both of those things in the same night, as you guys have kind of been together for an entire career now? A lot of the 200 wins she's been a part of, and obviously all of the 1,000 points you have been a part of. So what does that mean to kind of have that happen together?
It was super special. She was excited for me. I'm excited for her. The team's excited for both. And it couldn't have happened for a better kid. Clara has worked her tail off since she was a freshman, and she's just a team first player. It's always about whatever's best for us and how can we achieve our goals. So I was so happy for her.
Right, and we were actually there on Tuesday night when she did that, so you could tell the crowd was very excited. Everybody knew it was coming. You could see the reaction, much like when after the game they did the celebration for you. You could tell that all the players on the bench and the coaching staff as well knew that how close she was to that number and knew exactly when she was going to get it. It was a big thing, and that's always fun to see about high school sports as well, the real camaraderie and just relationship that the teams have built over the course of time together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And now speaking of the team, let's switch over to your team a little bit. 14-0 to start the season. And if you look at things from 1,000-foot view, it looks like you guys have been cruising, but we both know that there's been some adversity to overcome along the way. You guys have had some really legitimate tests early on to start the season. How important is it for you guys to have had those battles and proven to yourselves that you can overcome that adversity?
Super important with the state change in how they're doing the seeding this year, and going excuse me, with RPI. My goal in the off season was to try to get as tough competition as possible in that non-conference slate. And so we played some really, really good teams, and we had some close games. And so that's really important to get that experience, and then going into your conference schedule. And we still have some tough conference battles coming up too. So, but yeah, it's super important. We got to be tested.
Right, and again, as we mentioned there, you guys have done that. You've even been to the point where you were trailing at halftime of one game and were able to come back, overcome that adversity, and win on a buzzer beater in that fashion as well. So there's just another notch in the belt there. You guys can pull away in a blowout win. And now you've proven yourselves to be able to come back from any kind of deficit as well. That's and a major reason for that, a major reason you've been able to overcome those issues have been your seniors. One we talked about, Clara LaChapelle, but we'd be remiss to not mention Shania Paler and her leadership as well. From a coach's standpoint, what effect do those two have on the rest of your team, both on and off the floor?
Those two are two of our hardest workers in practice, in games. That just they're very great leaders. So they're an extension almost of the coaching staff on the court, and very, very, very important to us and how we do. So I couldn't say enough good things about them.
Right. And you mentioned the team first aspect of Claire LaChapelle's game earlier, and I think Shania Paler, we could say the same thing about her. She is to steal a football reference here, she's the quarterback of you guys' team, and kind of gets things under control if they ever do get out of hand. So being able to have somebody like that must be very exciting to lean on as well, to kind of rein things back in if it does get out of control.
It is. Shania is also team first. You probably noticed there that we were trying to get Claire's 1,000th point before the half, and Shania kind of would get a steal and circle around and wait for Claire to get down the court. She was all about Claire getting her 1,000th point, and Shania is now, as she surpassed her 1,000th point, her goal is with her assists. So she is really, really trying to get 500 assists in her career. So those girls are great. Having kids that are team first, I know for any coach is a luxury.
Yep. And you've got several of those, and your team is like I say, they're off to a hot start, 14-0, scoring 61 points per game on the offensive side, just giving up 36.2. How much pride do you guys take on the defensive side of the ball at practice and in games and throughout the offseason coming into this time of year?
Well, there's going to be nights where we don't shoot the ball well. And that's happened recently, especially in the Christmas tournament. And our defense is what took over. We've been holding teams to less than 10 points and a half. So we take a lot of pride in our defense, and we talk to the team about how great defense creates those easy shots on the other end. So we take a lot of pride in our defense.
And it certainly shows. I know we've mentioned a couple of the two senior leaders on this team, but one of the real anchors of that defensive side of the ball you're talking about, and a member of the three-headed monster that we all know this team truly is, maybe the scariest of those three heads, sophomore Ariana Johnson, 17 points, 7 rebounds, and an astounding 4 steals per game. She had 16 in the first half on Tuesday night. How much fun is it just sitting back as a coach and watching her when she's fully unlocked and doing all the things she's capable of doing?
It's a lot of fun. Her and Shania at the top, they just create so much havoc up there, and it creates a lot of distractions for the other team. And we tell them, we talk to them about even if we can get deflections, teams get frustrated, and at some point, even if we're not getting a steal, they're going to wear down over time and maybe take a bad shot, and that is just as good as the steals. So, right. But Ari, she's having a phenomenal season. She plays it so hard, and like you said, that three-headed monster. Those three are tough.
Yes. Yep. And like you mentioned there, Ariana Johnson, she's really, from what I've noticed, she's got 2 speeds. That's either 100 miles an hour or over there on the bench with you. Those are really the only 2 options when she's on the floor. And that, again, just speaks volumes to, in my opinion, the leadership and the impact that Shania and Clara have on the team, because it trickles down to their younger players, the Ariana Johnsons, Delise Edwards, Nevaeh Faust, all of the younger girls on your roster who are able to get some minutes. The leadership impact really shows there. And it again goes back to your coaching ability, speaks volumes to that as well.
Yes. Yeah. That leadership is super important. I think all coaches know if you don't have a true leader on your team, it's tough to win games. And our senior class, even the ones that are not playing a lot, like our bench is phenomenal. All of that plays into success. And our younger players see that, and they see how we practice, and they know we have a standard, and that's what we're going to go by. So.
And to kind of touch on something you mentioned a little bit there when we were talking about defense, you guys are finding yourselves in some instances where you do give up less than 10 points and a half. And I know we've mentioned the tougher battles that you guys have had this year, but not every game can be a nail biter. There are going to be some of those instances where you give up 8 points and a half and you score 46 on the other side. How do you keep, as a coach, how do you keep your team locked in when games like that start to get out of hand? How do you stay focused on the bigger mission as a whole?
So, we have to, we've talked recently about sometimes we're going to play teams where the games are, running clock.
Yeah.
And we know that, and we don't take any team lightly. We talk about respecting the opponent, but we know the reality there. And so we've been talking recently about how our biggest competition needs to come in practice.
Mm-hmm.
We need to battle each other every day so that when we do face a team that's going to, take us down to the wire, we're going to be ready. And, I think another big thing too is getting to play everybody on our team. Those starters and the ones that get to play more, they get super excited when those other girls come in the game and when good things, they do good things. We've just got a really, really tight knit group. And so, and again, it goes back to our leadership too. I think that just plays a huge role into all of it.
Yeah, and that's something I've mentioned about high school sports overall several times on broadcasts here and there. It's one of my favorite parts is that the game is when they do get out of hand. Unfortunately, you don't wish for that, but when it does, the game within the game begins, and then you see on the bench the starters and the players that get a lot of minutes and how excited they truly get for their teammates. I noticed that a lot, and I talk about it a lot. I think it's one of the more interesting elements of high school sports as a whole, and your team is fantastic at it.
Yeah.
When they get that chance as well, you can tell the relationship is really, really tight amongst your entire roster.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, Coach, as you and the team gear up for this last month of the season, we sit here January 9th as we record, a little over a month left in the regular season. What's been the message to the team going into this last month, or has it changed at all since the beginning of the year?
It hasn't really changed. We know we still have things we got to work on. And we do have a goal of getting back to that state championship game. And so I think the hardest part as coaches is just continuing to keep them motivated. And like next week, we have 4 practices because it's exam week. Mm-hmm. So for 4 days, we got to practice. And sometimes that's not easy for players to be motivated to do that. So we started doing, I keep some stats, just hard work type stats in practice, like loose balls and charges. I started keeping that early in the season because I didn't feel like we were doing a good job with those. And so, I reward them. Like if they win that day in practice, they get out of some of the conditioning and just motivational things. A lot of our drills in practice are competitive drills. So, blue team versus gray team, losers got to run. So everything is competitive.
Right.
And so I think just motivating them to continue to work hard because we know we've always got something to work on.
All right. Well, Coach, we'll wrap up with this one. You kind of mentioned it there, so it's definitely no secret what the ultimate goal for this team is. That's a repeat state championship. How, as we get closer towards the end of the year, as we reach that last month there, has that conversation started to come up at all, or is that something you and the rest of your team try to block out and just kind of be laser focused on what's going on right now?
We talk about it. We talk about it often, and the things that we need to do to get back there, the things that we need to do to get better so that we can make it back there. We've got some weaknesses, and those are the things that we want to continue to improve on. So yeah, we still talk about it.
Right. And I always find that interesting. And I really appreciate the hyper realistic approach that you seem to take with your team. It's always important. I know, like you said, respect the opponent. You never want to take anyone lightly, but at the same time, you can overuse the coach speak, and that kind of comes off disingenuous in its own right as well. So it's the realistic approach that you guys take and seem to have understood as a team is very interesting and refreshing to see as well.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, as always, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for sitting down with me here today. Good luck the rest of the way. We look very forward to on WBAG continuing to watch and follow your team as the season unfolds.
All
and
right. Thank you.
The lights are letting us know that.
It's timed out on us.
Absolutely. Well, that's a perfect ending there. As always, thank you so much, Coach. Enjoy.
All right.
The rest
Thank you
of
for
your day.
having me.